Hello everybody, my name is Roy Johnson and welcome to a kind of brand new series. I'm technically the Chikorita Chick battle I did with Rebecca technically started my Pokemon Showdown content on my channel, but really this is the first episode of a brand new series where pretty much I take a look at Pokemon Showdown battles that I've done and kind of just discuss what went right and what went wrong. No, I can't speak today. Pretty much I'm just going over how the battles went, what I did that was good, what I did that was bad, and overall just showing how pretty much inexperienced I am with Pokemon Showdown, because I really am. I'm not too used to competitive battling. I'm much more of a casual player. I'm a huge fan of Pokemon. I wouldn't say I'm wholly familiar with how like competitive like gameplay works, you know. I'm not familiar with IVs and stuff. I've tried my best to make a good team with the knowledge that I did have, and I did have to do some research when it came to making my team. Honestly, it's kind of ridiculous in some regards. But anyway, let's just quickly, before I begin, I actually have so many replays I could be showing right now for my first episode, but I felt like it'd be most interesting if I just freshly took the two most recent battles that I've done so far. Like, when I mean recently, I mean literally I did these battles yesterday, and now I'm going to be doing it, the recording. And some of these battles I've been keeping around for like months now, so that's just to keep that in regards. So, before I get into discussing, commentating over previously done battles, let's just go over the team that I'm going to be using throughout most of my series, okay? So, as you can see, this is the team I've set up, which I've mainly been using for OUs and Ubers matches, because those are the only ones in which this team is allowed. This is my team I've set up. I've got an Infernape, a Black Belt, Ability Blaze, and here's all the moves. I called her Fire Starter because I didn't really think of a good name. I mean, that's a Stephen King novel, I guess. Next we have Hypnotoad, my Seismitoad, Water Ground, and that type is very good. Snorlax, Homer the Snorlax, a reference to The Simpsons. Spike Lee, the Cacturn, because I couldn't really think of a better name. Batwoman, and Bird Person, a reference to Rick and Morty. So, as you can see, here's all the moves and all the stats and whatever. You can just get a good look at that. I remember making a video from a long time ago where I explained this team more in depth. But one, that video looked awful. And two, I've changed the moves since then, so it'd kind of be irrelevant. And as you can see, when you're going to be looking at some of my previous battles, I've changed up the moves, I've changed up the stats a little bit. But these are the stats that are going to be relevant to the most recent battles that I've done, including the ones I'm going to be talking about today. So, yeah, hopefully this footage looks good, because for sometimes browsers, I don't know why, Bandicam acts weird with browsers sometimes. As you can tell from my first Pokemon Showdown video on my channel. That's not the best quality, but I'm going to try to rectify that. Okay? Hopefully that's good. Yeah, see you guys in Pokemon Showdown. Okay, so here's gonna be my first battle. This is a random match. This is a Generation 6 random match between this guy or girl. I don't know. It's hard to tell. The name's kind of non-gender specific. Vig. Yeah, this name I can't pronounce. You can see it right there. This was an interesting battle. I'm not gonna say whether I win or lose, you know, despite what I think. I don't just keep the battles in which I win, because that would just be boring. But this was definitely an interesting battle. I'd say this is an interesting case of random battles are very interesting because you have no idea what Pokemon you're going to get. And sometimes that can work to your advantage, and sometimes that doesn't work to your advantage. And you're going to see how that goes with this battle in particular. So let's just begin, shall we? Let's just play. So let's just... Oh, actually, let's reset that. Let's make sure it's kind of slow so I have more time to explain it, okay? And play. So, here's the Pokemon that it sends out. He gets a Chandelure, and I start off with a Giratina. Now, my philosophy for random battles is the first Pokemon usually determines how well the battle goes. And Giratina is not a bad Pokemon. and in any other battle would probably have been actually very good. He's I think a Ghost Dragon type, last time I checked, and so otherwise, he would have been good, but unfortunately the team that Vigard, I think I'm just going to call him Vigard for now, was perfectly good at just, like, completely wrecking Giratina. Like, he's a Ghost and Dragon type. Unfortunately, there was a Ghost type and a Psychic type in the legendaries that you've seen so far, and the moves from that Furo and from Chandelure were more than enough to kick my Giratina's ass, and as you can see, he's also sleeping, so that didn't really do me any favors right now. So unfortunately, Giratina did not really last long. I mean, I tried doing Sleep Talk. I put rest on myself, hoping that would help me. It didn't work out. Part of that was my fault. I did some bad strategy there, and unfortunately, I lost my Giratina because of that. And honestly, I bring on my Mandibuzz, and honestly, Giratina was probably my best Pokemon on my team, so that wasn't a good sign. In hindsight, my team was kind of awful, actually. However, saying that Mandibuzz pretty much helped me throughout this match, honestly. I was impressed by that Mandibuzz, because his Dark typing was able to just wreck through the Ghost types. And also did very serviceably against Pharaoh. I don't know what he was planning to do with that Chandelure. You saw a few turns back. But anyway, just 2 knockouts was enough to take down that Chandelure, which was being a real pain to my Giratina. And right now, my Mandibuzz is also really kicking the ass of this Pharaoh. And it didn't help that we were both using moves that were recoiling, so I really shouldn't be speaking too much, but of course he had a choice band apparently, so that, or choice scarf, so that might have had something to do with it. I'm not sure how that weapon works, but yeah. So he brings out his Minoon, which, yeah, his electric thing probably would have completely wrecked my fire type. So I kind of hoped that Rotom would have been able to do good since it's a grass electric type. Maybe that would really help. I think Rotom also had Substitute. I think he also had Substitute. So I could have probably played that out, but I decided to go with the Leaf Storm to get rid of his Substitute. He was setting up. I realize now why Rotom was able to completely wreck my thing, because he was setting up at first, and that was a strategy that I did not take full advantage of. Because that Hidden Power, I have no clue what Hidden Power that was. Maybe it was like a Rock type. But whatever it was, it completely decimated my Rotom. That's not a good sign, because that was probably my most capable Pokemon of getting it. So I sent out Carnivine, and unfortunately, that Hidden Power, I don't know, I have no clue what Hidden Power that was. Maybe Fire. It might have been Fire, but luckily Power Whip was able to completely not decimate, because it's still alive technically. And unfortunately, his slower speed meant that this turn Carnivine went down, unfortunately, before it could get rid of that Minoon. He was a good Pokemon. He wasn't a bad Pokemon. It's just his slow speed really screwed him over, unfortunately. That Minoon, like, I never thought Minoon was a particularly good Pokemon, but in this battle, he's pretty much kicking my ass. And so I switched out to Lopunny. I had no clue that this was a Mega Lopunny, although I probably should have guessed that. But God, even though I managed to kick his ass with Lopunny, still, look at that damage that Minoon did. That's a strong Minoon. And it definitely looks like this match really isn't in my favor right now. You're gonna see pretty soon. See, so really, but despite this, it was pretty much anyone's game at this point, and the Mandibuzz really helped me out in this case, because pretty much I was able to get rid of Hoopa, obviously, as you saw. This Mandibuzz really kind of saved me from having a complete and utter loss. I'm not gonna say how the rest of the match went, but it looked pretty even, honestly. And then he switched it out to a Drapion, and that kind of sucked. And unfortunately, he used Taunt, so that meant I couldn't use... I forgot which move I had that I was gonna use, but it was a move that would have helped me with my health. And unfortunately, now it was a smart strategy using Taunt, because I had some move that would have helped me health-wise. Oh, no, I had Roast. I remember, I had Roast. And that Taunt screwed me over, because it was Knockoff and Brave Bird. Knockoff is a Dark type move, and Drapion's Poison Dark, and Brave Bird recoils. So both of those really weren't going to help me. And it really came down to my last Pokemon at this point, and unfortunately, it was a Kricketune. And as you can see from the comment, this guy realized how fucking screwed I was, because pretty much Kricketune sucks, first of all, and Kricketune is also a bug type, and Drapion is a poison dark type, literally like the worst typing to fight against a bug type. And as you can see, Drapion completely wrecked my team. I have no clue what his 6th Pokemon was. You can see Vargard, or whatever the fuck his name is, said GG as soon as I sent on Kricketune. That was just how badly, like, Kricketune was massed against the fucking Drapion. Which it was unfortunate, but I kind of kept this battle in because of just how close it really was. Despite the fact that I was kind of handed not the greatest of teams, and it looked like the match really wasn't to my advantage. I still managed to make that battle work, and although I did lose this match, I wouldn't say I'd still say this was a good battle. I think it was a good matchup. I gave my all. I really did give my all. It didn't lead to a victory, but I still think I played very well for this match. And if I had gotten literally any other Pokemon besides a fucking Kricketune at the end, we could have possibly had a different result. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about this match. Let's go to the next battle, shall we? Okay, so here's the second match. Now instead of a random battle, I decided to go with an Ubers match. Yeah, Ubers match, just want to make sure. And this time I'm using my Ubers team, as I've previously stated. This is my main team I use for OU and Ubers, and let's see how this match goes. Yeah, let's check it out. I think this match went really good, and you're gonna see why pretty soon, okay? Let's go. Let's set this slow, and okay. So I started off with Batwoman, and usually the first Pokemon I start out with is usually Batwoman and Spike Lee. I don't want to send my heavy hitters in, but yeah. So I start off with a substitute, and I'm kind of just trying to stall at this point, but I do have some strategies. I could technically switch out to maybe like a Spike Lee or maybe Seismitoad, but I decided to just keep Batwoman in to try to deal some damage, because Gyarados are definitely Pokemon that could struggle with if you don't have the right Pokemon. Luckily, Gyarados' Crunch really didn't do much to get rid of my substitute at that first point, and it took his Ice Beam to really wreck it, and luckily it did, because my Ice, as you can see, that Ice Beam wrecked it really badly, but luckily it didn't freeze me because of my ability, I think, last time I checked. And unfortunately, that did get rid of my substitute. So that didn't work out too well. But once again, he's trying to raise his stats with Dragon Dance. And yeah, I was really trying to get that poison to try to, like, poison him. I kind of knew at this point Batwoman wasn't going to make it this far, but I didn't want to switch him out to anything. I just wanted to kind of get rid of him and get a clean slate. Batwoman, you know, against the Gyarados, he did really well. So I decided to go for Spike Lee. I knew he had the Ice Beam, and I knew he probably wasn't going to live that much. He did survive longer than I would have expected, and I could have done... I wasn't going to use Spikes. I usually use Spikes with Spike Lee, but I knew because he's a flying... Gyarados is a flying type, it wouldn't do much. So I decided to go with my Grass type moves to hopefully whittle down his health. He's still very strong, but I think I might have actually been able to beat him, because yeah, Spike Lee, you know, I was impressed with Spike Lee in this battle, because Spike Lee is usually not the type to get rid of Pokemon. Usually, I usually use him to like set up with spikes and stuff, but he did good against that Gyarados. It could have also helped that he was a strong. That the Gyarados wasn't really doing that good. It could have helped that the player kind of wasn't that good, actually. But yeah, I knew like Arcanine versus Cacturne wasn't going to be a good matchup. But wait, okay, let me pause this moment for a second, okay? Here's what, okay. Let me explain this moment for a second, okay? So, Arcanine completely wrecked my Cacturne, and so I switched out to Hypnotoad, obviously, to switch out to intimidate Arcanine, because my Hypnotoad was more than capable of destroying Arcanine. So, but here's what I did. Now, a novice player would have just gone for Surf to hopefully attack the Arcanine, but I was smart. Like, this is one of my rare moments where I actually was thinking, like, ahead, trying to make a prediction. So pretty much, I had Ice Punch on Hypnotoad, specifically to combat against grass types, because of course, as a water ground type, grass is a huge weakness for Hypnotoad. And my prediction was that rather than take the hit, having Arcanine possibly take a hit from a fire type move, he was going to switch out to Venusaur, the most capable Pokemon, and that's why you're about to see what happened. I put Ice Punch. See that was just beautiful. That was a perfectly done prediction. That was completely perfect. It was a critical hit, super effective, knocked out that Venusaur. It was amazing. Totally worth the attack that I lost from Intimidate. And really, this confused me. He used Howl, despite the fact that he now found out he used Howl twice. Okay, he didn't try to take down my Hypnotoad. First he switched it, but instead of actually attacking me, he decided to set up instead. Which that was just I think I was just lucky in getting a really bad player, but that was not a good strategy at all. It did not work out. Now, this Alakazam was very interesting. Something very interesting happened with Alakazam. Of course, it was a Mega, so Alakazams are pretty much very strong. Very strong. So I knew Hypnotoad wasn't going to survive Alakazam for much, so I tried whittling its health a bit. It didn't work out too well, so I decided to go for my main man, Bird Person. Now, Altaria is usually the powerhouse of my team. I usually bring him out to decimate players, especially when I turn him into a Mega. You're going to see pretty soon, I'm going to make him a Mega Altaria. Dragon Fairy type, very powerful. And, of course, Fairy Body Slam was just completely wrecks that Electivire. Now I know what his strategy was. He was switching to Electivire to try to attack Bird Person on a flying type level, because he probably thought that Altaria was still a flying type. It usually is, but he didn't realize that Mega Altaria is a fairy type, probably, which is why he probably went for Thunder. Now, Thunder is very effective because it did, in fact, paralyze me. But it didn't, as you can see, the paralyze didn't really do much. I was really hoping that Flamethrower was hopefully could get rid of that Pidgeot. But unfortunately, it didn't really work out too well. But here's where Homer, my Snorlax, pretty much just saved the day at this point. Because of course, the superpower completely decimated his Pidgeot. And here is where an interesting development happens. And so, a Mega Alakazam versus Homer, a normal type. And his one known move is a fighting type move. So of course he's gonna go for Psychic. And since I had Body Slam, I had Rest, Sleep Talk, and of course the fighting type move, Superpower. So of course I just kept going for Body Slam because that was literally like the only move I could use. So my strategy was to just basically dwindle his health, and hopefully my Infernape could kick his ass, pretty much. Like, a really good fire-type move. And now here's what happens. Literally, this entire battle is just Alakazam using Recover and Homer using Body Slam. Literally, that is the rest of this fucking match. I feel like if he had spent more time actually attacking me with Psychic-type moves, he could have gotten rid of Homer instead of setting up. I mean, I understand some of his strategy. I do understand it, but I think it was, I kind of put him in a corner where he couldn't really do anything else, and so he just literally kept on recovering. This is kind of a troll tactic. I was kind of just trying to make him quit at this point because I was literally doing nothing else besides that. And then the Paralyze succinct it. Just realize how many fucking times I had to body slam that thing for the Paralyze effect to kick in. Just remember that. And luckily, the Paralyze cut Alakazam's speed, making it enough for Homer to just body slam him and completely wreck that Alakazam. I said GG, and this lag guy, whatever the fuck, just left. That was a good match, though. That was a good match. I didn't get to use my Infernape in that match, but it was still a very good match. I think part of it was because, honestly, that player wasn't very good. He did a lot of very kind of strategies, honestly, but still, I was very impressed with the Showdown stuff that I actually did do. And yeah, let's just say I don't win a lot of battles, but when I do, it's kind of impressive. On both ends, like impressive that they lost so badly, and impressive that I actually somehow managed to win. So yeah, this is my first ever episode of Pokemon Showdown, talking about my Pokemon Showdowns. If you want to see more, leave a comment, leave a response. I'd really appreciate it, because I have a bunch of replays to play and talk over commentary-wise. Let's see how this goes. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Roy Johnson, signing out. Adios, muchachos.